Hello all, Janae here. I am here to do another review of a book, one that I thoroughly enjoyed. If you saw my March wrap up, you know how much I love this book. So I wanted to come and do a separate review of it. It's not going to be super long because I don't want to spoil anything. As I'm sure you know from the title of this video, the book that I'm going to review today is Pretty Girl 13 by Liz Coley. So I really enjoyed this book. This is a 5-star book for me. I wouldn't change anything, not one thing about how it's written. I wouldn't change, like, how it's written. I wouldn't change any of the plot points. I would not change any of the characters, even if I didn't like all of them, and I didn't. But I love this book. It was just really good. This is kind of a dark and intense story. It's about a girl, named Angie. She was kidnapped from like a camping trip when she was 13, and when she's 16, she's coming back home. She's walking home with no memory of the past 3 years of her life. And she comes home. Her family is like mind boggled. It's just a crazy situation. And this book is ultimately about self-acceptance and being able to put your life back together in a way that makes it meaningful for you after you have a kind of like life-changing, almost life-destroying situation, if you're put into that kind of situation. Definitely, like I said, about self-acceptance, but also kind of about self-regulation and perseverance and what it means to just kind of keep pushing through something that's super difficult and something you know that's going to be difficult, but is only for your own betterment, and kind of putting yourself above what you want, putting your needs above your wants, I guess. It's just beautifully explored in this book. I really liked it. So when Angie comes back, at first she doesn't even realize 3 years has passed. She has no memory. She thinks she's coming back as a 13-year-old girl. She doesn't even believe how long she's been gone when she first comes back and people tell her what's been going on. And as she's dealing with the fact that she's lost 3 years of her life, she has to deal with that, like, herself internally, but she also has to deal with that externally. She has to deal with, her parents who thought they lost their kid for 3 years, and now she's back but has no clue what happened to her. So they're searching for this justice and this, tell us what happened and we want to make it better, and she can't do that immediately. She's dealing with friends who, she's coming back as a 16-year-old girl. Her friends are 16, 15 to 17 years old. They're teenagers, and of course they mourned for her and wanted her back, but at this point have somewhat let her go. And now she's coming back into their lives and kind of wanting to be back in the place where she left, but realizing that for some of them, she just has to start over again. I really liked the the concept of friendship, because this isn't a spoiler. I think it's like to be assumed. She doesn't keep all of the friends that she had when she left. People change, and I think this is a really good and kind of like stark example of how people can grow apart. They grew apart not in the same place. Like, sometimes you go to high school with somebody, you're friends with them freshman year, by the time senior year happens, you're not friends. The same definitely happens in college. You just kind of grow apart. They grew apart because she wasn't around, so she didn't have that gradual growing apartness. It was just kind of very stark. I'm back, and this is not what I expected type of situation. And so in addition to trying to remember what happened to her and dealing with how what happened to her makes her feel, she also has to deal with, completely not having the life she thought she was coming back to, because she didn't even realize she was coming back to it. So it's very interesting. I will say I really enjoyed this book. Again, I gave it 5 stars. The pages just kept turning. At one point, I was like even so upset at Liz Coley, the author of this book, for like putting Angie through so much. The girl goes through so much, but that just makes kind of everything more intense and a little bit more beautiful, honestly. It's dark, but I see a huge amount of beauty in this book, in the way that she just persevered and she had setbacks. It was realistic, but it was also super inspiring. I I liked the way her journey happened. There were some characters that I didn't enjoy, you know, and that happens, but I liked what they were in Angie's life. And so I think that's the mark of a good book. I might not like a character, but if I understand their purpose to the main character, to the plot, you know, cool. I get it. So again, there's a lot. I feel like I've read a lot lately where it's hard to describe without going into detail, but a lot of the details are spoilers. I don't want to spoil this book at all. I recommend it if you like YA books, and if you like books that are kind of like coming of age stories, but in a short period of time. If you just kind of like the dark and intense, I would say that even if you're not necessarily a fan of YA, this might be a really interesting book, because a lot of the situations she finds herself in are a little bit more, in my opinion, new adult, because it's kind of her jumping from like adolescence to like late teenhood, basically. And not super late, but you know what I mean. But again, I recommend it. I loved it. It was 5 stars. And I'm also going to do a written review of this. Again, I don't know if it's going to be posted before or after this video. If it's before, I'll link this below. If it's after, I'll link it whenever I post it. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this book, and I'm just so happy I was able to read it. So that was it. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your presence with me, because you could be anywhere right now and you are right here with me listening to me talk about books. There's nothing I love more, and so I'm happy to be able to like share that with a whole bunch of other people. I think I have a few more videos to film today, and I'm losing my sunlight rapidly. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you again for being here, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.